later tonight to see how this sales tax work here.
I will.
Hey, I know you.
Oh, I'm sorry, I know you.
You behave tonight.
Looks like a separation.
Finance and Budget Committee is called to order. Our prayer and pledge tonight will be led by J.P. Lance Johnson.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for all the blessings you bestow upon us. And we're thankful that we live in a country where we can participate in our government. We just pray tonight for your guidance and for your wisdom as we conduct the business of Washington County. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The agenda has been adopted. All right. Our treasurer's report, Bobby Hill.
Hello, everybody. $4.1 general fund. As usual in March, expenditures were over revenues. We began with 11.6, ended 10.7 million at the end of March. Road fund expenditures way up over revenues. FEMA continues to be a big drain on the road fund. Like today, we ended the month 1.9. Right now we have 1.4. It's dwindling quite a bit. Hoping for FEMA money soon, but don't know when it will be here. 3017 jail. Spent about what they brought in. Ended the month at 405,000. Let's see. If you'll look down at 6,002 collectors unapportioned, we began with 6.3. Now we just have 44,000. That was due to excess collectors commission being sent to all the entities. General got 462,000 of that. Bottom of the next page, we ended the month just under $30 million in the bank. 4.2, 1 cent sales tax. Got in 598,000. That's a 4.71% increase over last year. That's $26,904 compared to same time last year. 4.3, the jail tax. Got in 812,000. That's almost 37,000 more than last year, and through 3 months, we're already up 108,000 over 2018. 4.4, the road tax. It's up 4.57%, bringing in 130,000. That's gives us 417,000 total for 2019 so far. And that's my report.
All right. J.P. Eva Madison.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was going to ask, do you know the timing of the internet sales tax implementation?
I do not know the timing, and nobody seems to have a clue when it will happen or how much we'll get.
Well, I know that I think we've quizzed everybody enough on how much money it's going to be. We don't know.
But I'm not sure
we
when.
can hope for a lot.
I'm not sure when it's going to.
But I'm guessing, does anybody, I don't think it had an emergency clause, so my guess is it would take effect probably in August.
What is it, 90 days
90 days after
session?
signing day, yeah. So
I don't think there was an emergency with it.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would be pretty quick.
In August, and if it did start in August.
So we would probably see it on a 2-month lag?
October, maybe.
Okay.
Depends on when.
It'll probably be implemented right around the time of the sales tax free weekend.
Probably.
So, Okay, well, I'm very excited about the potential for the internet sales tax. And that comes from someone who spends a lot of money on the internet, so.
I understand.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions for Bob? Good. All right. Mr. Nelson Driver, Employees Insurance Report.
Okay, once again, as last month, we're still sitting in pretty good shape. We started out March the 1st with $2,980,824 in the insurance fund, ended March 31 with $3,015,554. Today, we're sitting with a balance in the fund of $2,942,000. We've got a couple of large claims that are in process right now that I was notified by our third-party administrator. One is at about $26,000 right now that has actually been paid out, and we've got one that we're reasonably sure that's coming that is going to hit us at about $60,000. So those are the only two large ones that we know about right now. Obviously, the $25,000 claim was on a contract basis between Blue Advantage administrators, excuse me, and Washington Regional. The original bill on that one was $74,000, and the contractual payment was lowered to $25,000. So we do get a pretty good discount with that. But I'll keep you posted on where we end up with these two particular claims. We normally don't see a real bad uptick in large claims until close to the end of the year, because that's the folks that are trying to get stuff done before they have to start a new deductible. But that's where we're sitting right now. The fund is still in really good shape from our viewpoint, and I'll keep you posted if anything starts to go south.
Are there any questions for Mr. Nelson? Good report.
Thank you.
Thank you. Controller's report, Mr. Shannon Worthen.
Okay, starting on page 9, the carryover ordinance was responsible for most of the changes in the unappropriated reserves. And general fund ended up $4,536,000.81, and then the jail fund ended up at $985,495 in the negative. So net general is sitting at $3,550,000 and 586, and then starting on page 10 is the summary of expenses by fund and department. The next to last column is with encumbrances, and then the last column is actual transactions only, and we should be at about 25% after 3 months. And so overall, for all the journal accounts, if you look over on page 11, was 25.9%. So we're in pretty good shape overall in the general fund. And then if you go forward to page 16, then grand total for all departments and funds was 26.3%. So we're in pretty good shape with our spending, and that's all I had. If you had any questions.
On general services, I've lost it here, but it was right at 52%, I think, spent. Oh, here it is, right here. Can you, what general services are we talking about?
That's the purchasing department, and they're up a little bit because they're a two-person department, and they both did their training conferences here in the first part of the year, so they aren't going to have any more major training expenses, so it's kind of front-loaded their budget, so they still should be in good shape by the end of the year.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions from other JPs? Yes?
That was my question.
Oh, okay. If not, thank you, Mr. Worthing. All right, I guess we're down, there's no unfinished business. Number 8, you want to read number 8, Brian?
Get to it, sorry. Computer's not cooperating. 8 is an ordinance changing the title and grade of one full-time position in the Circuit Court 3 budget for 2019.
All right, this is a change of a grade for a position in the juvenile court. Is there any further discussion? Do I hear a motion? Public comment.
Second.
All right. We have a motion to pass 8.1 and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Ordinance passes. All right. We're ready for number 9. Would you like to read that, please, Mr. Lester?
Yes, ma'am. An ordinance recognizing additional carryover money in various grant funds in the amount of $65,882.27 and reducing $139.32 from various grant fund budget line items for 2019.
All right, this is the money for Dye Creek Bridge and the flood 217. So, are there any questions? Do I hear a motion to pass 9.1?
Motion pass 9.1.
Second? Butch, did you say, okay. I have a motion and a second. All those in public comment? All those in favor of 9.1 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. All right, we're now to read number 10, the ordinance.
An ordinance reducing $3,898.55 from unappropriated county reserves and appropriating said amount to the other professional services line item in the Quorum Court's budget for 2019.
All right, we have a change here. This is money that was spent for an outside attorney in the case on Schaefer Road wedding venue. We have additional expenses.
Yeah, Madam Chairman, I need to make a motion to amend this ordinance for the total amount of $3,898.55. We need to make that $4,248.52. $4,248.52. That will represent an additional invoice of $349.97 that we've received since ordinance was written.
Okay. Are these the final expenses?
Yes, this should be the final expense, and this should take care of our obligation. And just so for those of you that were here last year, we brought this ordinance up in December of last year. At the time, the Finance and Budget Chair wanted to take it out of personal services line items instead of doing an ordinance, which was in violation of your rules that you set, so it didn't get done. So this will clear up and take care of
the final amount due on the appeal from the wedding venue chapel down in
Schaefer Road.
Schaefer Road.
All right, so according to our budget items or budget controls, we must pass this by ordinance. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to ask the county attorney, when this bill was previously considered, I assume the 349 additional invoice hadn't been received.
That's correct. I got an email from Connie Clark this morning, because I'd asked her for a final update, if there was going to be a final bill, what that would mean, so that we could hopefully take care of it tonight. She sent me the email this morning with that additional 349, and so that's why we're looking to add it, and so that should be the end of it.
So otherwise, if we'd done that back in December, we'd have to do another one now.
Had the ordinance passed in December to transfer it from the general to the line item, it could have been paid, but it was procedurally, I believe that the thought was to just pay it out of leftover personal services, personnel salaries. When you all don't allow anything to be paid out of salaries that's not a salary, without you passing an ordinance to do so. Does that make sense?
Sure.
And so we should have passed an ordinance, and I apologize, I didn't catch that, and I'll take the honest for that. I didn't catch it at the time that Bill Usry proposed it. I should have said, whoa, we can't do that. You're going to have to pass an ordinance. So needless to say, it didn't get taken care of, and that's what this is doing.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other, yes,
That
Mr. Lemming?
42, 48, 52, is that what the field cost altogether? That's total?
Yeah.
What was that, what did that really cost the county? 25,000 on
25.
top of that, 4,000, so
With-
about 29, about 30,000?
About 25 with this amount.
25 with this amount?
Somewhere between 25 and 30 with this amount, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Yes.
I don't know that this is germane to this particular issue, but it seems like with these conditional use permits, there's no win for us. So if we decline what the planning board does, then it's going to go to a higher court. If we approve, they're still going to appeal it. And something I've been thinking about is, as we have these other CUPs coming up and the approval process, is how do we as the court handle that? Because if this happens again, it's a significant cost to the county, $25,000. So I'm not sure what the resolution to that is, but just a thought, how do we not be the...
Well, let's, let me make one point here. We went, and I made that motion, and we hired an outside attorney. Most of the time, we don't do that. So therefore, it's really not an additional cost because our in-house attorney takes care of that. So anyway, that's, that's, at this point, this is one of our unpleasant duties that we have to do. So that's the only thing I can say about it.
I make a motion, we pass it.
Do I have a second? Okay, public comment.
That motion
Oh,
needs
wait a
to be,
minute.
that motion needs to be made as amended.
It needs to be rescinded because we need a motion on the amendment.
Okay, I make the motion for the amendment.
I second.
All right, motion on the amendment. Amendment has been made and seconded. All those in favor of the amendment say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
No.
Okay, or the amendment passes. Now I have to go back to the ordinance, right?
Right, as amended.
As amended, all right. So, do I have a motion to pass the ordinance as amended? All those in, public comment. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Ordinance has passed. All right. We have any public comments tonight? Anyone that wants to address the Finance and Budget Committee? All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Nope. You've got, okay.
I got new business I want to tell you about. You know,
Well, we're not, okay.
Aren't we down to the new business point? I don't.
No, we already did that at number 7.
I'm sorry. Should I go ahead or forget it?
That's up to the committee.
Point of order. Why has the other discussion item been removed from our agenda?
Well, it had under new business, it was number 7. I didn't set the agenda up, so I don't have a comment to make on that.
I think it's the chair's responsibility, but I think
Well,
J.P. Bowman is thinking that we've always historically, at the end of especially this committee, had an opportunity for JPs to raise other issues.
Yes.
So
I'm sorry.
I think that I'm confused as to why that doesn't appear, and I think he was expecting it to appear, so I think we should indulge him and allow him to speak.
Well, the proper way to do that pursuant to your rules under Robert's rules would be to amend your agenda to add this as new business. So if you had new business, you would need to add it as new business, which would be an amendment to the agenda.
I move to do just what you said.
I'll second. I'll second.
Okay, now we are,
Point of order, it needs to
Adding-
be a proper motion. If you could state it properly, that would be the right
Helpful.
way to do it, please.
all right,
Thank you.
Mr. Lemming, what is your motion?
I don't think I can say what he said.
You would need to you'd need to move to suspend the rules to
I move
allow,
to suspend the rules to allow,
or to add Mr. Bowman's comment.
to add Mr. Bowman's comment.
Okay. You have to be seconded and then a 2/3 vote.
All right, all those, will raise your hand, all those in favor, raise your hand, please. All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, Mr. Bowman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I have been really upset with the CUP issues we've been going on with. And I have continued to wall this thing around in my mind about what we could do to mitigate some of the political pressure we get from the ongoing presentations of ideas and suggestions about CUPs. As I see it today, we come in here and we do the presentation by the planning board, and they get a chance to express their opinions. Then it comes to quorum court, and we get to go through one or more hearings in the same situation. And then if we approve or disapprove, many times those move on to be litigated. My question is, in our position here as the quorum court, we are dealing with a political issue that will wind up with a legal final decision. My question is, do we need to be involved in the CUP process? Once our committee has reviewed the application, the board has made a decision. If there's a continuing dissent between the two parties, that it goes straight to the court and eliminate all the confusion and political pressure we receive in here when a great deal of technical information is involved that many of us don't know the details of. And I have tried to engage participants on both sides of these issues, and I have not been able to come to a clear resolution to the ongoing situation, and I think it's going to continue and get worse as our population continues to grow. So I would like for you to all think about, and I'm not proposing to do anything tonight at all, but the next public services meeting we have, I hope to bring a proposal to you to consider removing us from that process. So please just consider it, and let's think about it and talk about it another time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Point of order, the motion to suspend the rules was only to allow J.P. Bowman to speak. So if anybody else wants to talk, they have to do another motion.
All right,
Move to suspend the rules and allow anybody else that wants to add into this discussion to be allowed.
is there a second? All right, we have a motion to suspend the rules to let another person speak, or anyone speak. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? Motion passed. All right. J.P. Sue Madison.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I didn't know this would be so hard. As J.P. Bowman has asked you to think about this for the future, I'd like to also offer something for you to think about. and that is that it has always been important to me that our citizens, through the governmental process, ultimately have an elected official to go to. And if we do this, they no longer have somebody who represents their interests politically elected by them to weigh in on it. And we can't control access to the courts. And it's people's prerogative to appeal what the planning board decides, what the quorum court decides, and then take it to court. And unfortunately, that's the way things work, and people with a lot of money tend to exhaust the whole chain of possibilities. But try and keep in mind that we are elected to represent the people of Washington County, and they should always be able to talk to an elected official.
Thank you, J.P. Madison. Butch? Mr. Butch.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Pond.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Harbison. This brings up another point, and my thing on it would be worded a little differently. My concern is the efficiency of the process, whereas it could be streamlined where we don't have the county attorney put into a position where the county attorney represents the county. And if the planning board passes something on for us to ratify, and then we decide to shoot it down, you know, you get in this situation where who's the county attorney supposed to represent? The planning board's the county, and so is the quorum court. My idea, or my thought would be, if we're going to continue to participate in this, and I'll be more than glad either way. That's why they pay us the big bucks. On the CUPs, why involve the planning board at all? Planning staff bring it to us. That way, we don't get in these conflicts with the planning board, which I might add does a very good job, and so does the staff. And that's just another thing for you to think about. That'll give you a lot of thinking to do. Anyway, thank you.
J.P. Jenkins.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With all due respect, J.P. Pond, I think that as the legislative body, that's our job, and for it to come through the planning board to us gives us even more information on whatever the CUP we're looking at holds. I feel like if it's not broke, don't fix it. And we have to be there for our, the voice for who we represent. And as a representative in Farmington, even though I'm not in the district where the CUP has come up that we're getting the emails on, they're still my neighbors, and I feel their points. And if it were your neighbors, how would you feel? If it was you, how would you feel? I mean, it's just a process, and I feel like if it goes on, it goes on. But my job as the Justice of the Peace of District 10 is to hear the people. And I feel like with the CUP, it's important that they have this option to come and sit on those chairs and speak their mind to us about how they're feeling, because they may not have had that chance during the planning committee or the planning board. So this is just their second chance to really be heard. So thank you.
Okay, Mr. Dunn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.